Hello, everybody. I hope you're all having a good night tonight. Uh, this Monday evening. Hope you're all doing well. Thanks for everybody coming in on the chat. Those who are just catching up now, welcome to Monday Movie Club. We're so excited to be having you on tonight as we talk about Inside Out and all the things that it entailed. I hope you all really liked the movie. It was a really good, a bit of emotional roller coaster compared to our last watches, but I hope you all really enjoyed it and had a good time. Um, yeah. So we're just going to get started here just with a warm welcome. Just to start us off, just a reminder that spoiler alerts are in effect for this live stream as we talk openly about different themes and ideas and things surrounding the movie of Inside Out. So if you have not seen Inside Out and you do want to see it, feel free to watch this video on a different date, or feel free to watch this video and take a look at some of the things that we are watching. But spoiler alert is in effect for this live stream. The other thing is just in regards to our guidelines. Sorry, I keep looking down because my notes are on my phone, so apologize for that. Just that we share about Monday Movie Club with others that we may want to be involved. I know a lot of our movies have been taking place on Disney Plus, but there's a lot of different experience sharing opportunities available. Such as Netflix Watch Play parties and Zoom calls and things along those lines. So if there's a way that you can figure out how to share the experience with others in other homes, feel free to take advantage of those avenues so that you can widen the community. Participate in movie clubs, so having open discussions at home. I hope that the discussion questions this week surrounding emotions and feelings really sparked interesting conversations for you and those that you watched the movie with. I hope it was a really good time. And as well as we always are, be kind and loving to one another, not just here on the live chat and in your own homes, but viewing comments and posts and things along those lines. We haven't had an issue with that. And so thank you so much for being a loving and kind community to one another. So as always, we're just going to start with the very basic question. What snack was the major contender for your Inside Out movie watching? For mine, I also I had cookies again this past week for Inside Out. Those cookies did survive, but my parents dropped by for Mother's Day, and we sat on the porch at social distancing. And so tonight I have my mom, hi mom, fresh peanut butter cookies. So I'm sorry, these are not peanut free for those who have peanut allergies, but I will be enjoying these after our live stream. So I hope you had really good things. Trail mix, great things. Greek food for Mother's Day. That would be interesting. What did I have for Mother's Day? We ordered in from a local restaurant here in Durham, and it was really good. I had like bruschetta and flatbread and chicken. It was incredible. Yeah, it was really, really good. Dinner. Yeah, this was a good one to have somewhat of a distraction with if you didn't want to be fully immersed in the thing. Popcorn, great choice. So yeah, I hope you had really good snacks. Feel free to offer opinions about what things we should be watching for our movie nights. Different tastes and things might be an exciting treat for us to go down as well. So that was that. So my first question of the night is, out of the 5 emotions that exist in this universe in somebody's head, so joy, sadness, fear, anger, and disgust, which of these 5 emotions would you replace? Who else, if you would replace one of them, being in control of the head console, and which one would you replace, and then what emotion would you replace them with? I'm always curious to know that. So for those who are watching, maybe not participating in live chat or watching this at a future date, welcome to the live stream. Feel free to put your thoughts for these questions down below as well in the comment section, as well as feel free to just take part in your own home discussions. I allow some time for people to type answers, think about answers in the live chat. So feel free to take an opportunity to have these discussions at home along with us. Amy, I would replace fear with courage. Great one. Yeah, I don't know if one of my core, if I had five core um, feelings in my head, if it was set up like that, I don't think I would have disgust as one of mine. I think I would replace it with, I guess joy would be sense of humor, but like humor is a really big, or maybe sarcasm if that's an emotion. I think that's just a form of humor. Um, those would be the ones that I would replace. So I would replace disgust and put in something more fun. Maybe like silliness, but that's more of a personality what do they call them? Islands. And so that would be the one I would replace. Yeah. Or even if you can't think of someone you would replace it with, because I'm having troubles with that as well. Who would you replace as one of the core five in charge of the console? It's hard to think, but even like when I think about those emotions that they had, it was like joy was considered positive. You know, if we think of basic terms, joy's kind of positive. And then the others are kind of like neutral slash negative, depending on the circumstance. Uh, oh, strange. Uh, Amy just informed me that uh, oh, Deerfield, we see you now. Sorry, we're having a bit of technical issue for Deerfield. We see you now, Deerfield. We saw your "It is for me" now. Um, and thank you so much for Amy for catching on to that. I'm glad we're all supporting each other in the chat that way. Feel free to retype Deerfield as we move forward, or if someone else catches something like that, maybe reiterate whatever something's being missed. I would greatly appreciate it since I got a couple screens going here on my end. Thanks so much for catching that. Um, I kind of move forward. Feel free to put your other insights as they come. What is the difference between happiness and joy? Kind of a bigger question. When we think about happiness, what is the difference between that and joy? I want to dive deeper into that with you tonight. It's a bit of a bigger question. Uh, in regards to those things. I'm just going to pull up here on handy dandy Google, as we all refer to it, as I call it the Googs. Get the Google. That's what some of my family members have said in the past. Happiness is defined, definition, the state of being happy. Thank you, Google, for that. That's not what I wanted to know. So happy is the feeling or showing pleasure or contentment. And joy is defined. Okay, that's not great. A feeling of great pleasure and happiness. So let's say, I'm going to look at what some of you guys say. Nancy, joy is stronger and longer lasting than happiness. That's true. That's been my experience. Has others experienced that? Happiness is a good feeling and joy is like excitement. Yeah, there's a bit of a deeper feeling of goodness attached to it. Happiness is from our circumstances. Joy is in spite of our circumstance, from Amy. That is very good distinction between the two. Happiness may be involuntary. Joy is a choice. That is really interesting. Yeah, the more I kind of reflect on it, within biblical principles, of course, those who are familiar of the fruits of the Spirit, love, joy is the second of the 9 that are mentioned. And so God promises us joy and and joyous lives. He doesn't always promise us happy lives. And it's that idea that even in hardships, we can find elements of joy through grief or loss of circumstance or loved ones or anything along those lines. We can still hold on to hope and joy in those moments as well. So, in spite of the circumstances around us, I always kind of think of it as like happiness is the emoji and joy is the feeling. So happiness is kind of the idea of like everything's fine and kind of the presentation of it all, where the kind of deep feeling of that pleasure, that excitement that that Commander K talked about, all this other stuff, that kind of reflects in that aspect of joy. Yeah, I just love to get community's insight from that. So thank you. As I shake my table. Sorry about that. All right. So when joy and sadness, so again, this is why we do the spoiler alert. So when joy and sadness get lost in I promise I watched the movie, guys. I promise. When they get sucked out of headquarters because the core memories are being cast off into, I think it's long-term memory is what it's referred to, and they're trying to get back. Which emotion starts to make Riley's decisions? Thank you, Nancy. Yes, long-term memories. What emotions in the headquarters, or what emotion primarily starts to make Riley's decisions? And then kind of my follow-up to that would be like, what happens when they are in charge? What happens to Riley when happiness, joy, and sadness are no longer present? Yep. Deerfield and Amy, right off the bat, anger is the one, fear is there and disgust is there, but anger is the one that lashes out at parents. Anger is the one that has the idea of ultimately running away. And so it's interesting that when in our own lives, maybe some of us who have been around a little longer, when we feel that like joy and we're not able to feel joy and we don't either feel safe or can't feel sadness, we do have a sense of like anger starts to take control. And absolutely, things go wrong. She's totally out of control. You can get depression. Absolutely. And depression, as in regards to mental health, from what I know of my mental health first aid, which is very, very standard, is the inability to come out of that after a long period of time. So people who are diagnosed with depression tends to be that they're not able to pull themselves out of that spiral. Riley had a few days, so that wouldn't have been considered depression. But if it's over a longer period of time, I think the Mental Health Commission of Canada kind of dictates it around 2 weeks. Then it can be diagnosed as having the mental health state of depression. And that's exactly what happens. There's a feeling of out of control. There's a feeling of kind of a desperation of control. And things just go not right ever. And I always found it interesting that it had to be sadness and joy that it left. Because if we're able to experience sadness, as we saw, like sadness allows us to reflect, allows us to relate to others, allows us to feel those moments of loss or grief or lack of control or upset. But then there's always that alleviation. And some of us who may have more recently, or I think all of us at one point in our lives have experienced that, where we get so sad that kind of at the end of sadness we go, okay, and we're able to kind of pick ourselves up a little bit because we're allowing our emotion to I had a counselor friend of mine once explain it to as ride the emotional wave. We're able to ride that wave so at the end we can get kind of a more normal state of how our emotion is. So yeah, I thought it was very interesting that out of the three that remained, I always would have thought that fear would have taken control. But it was interesting that anger was the one that actually took control in the end. Excellent. I'm so glad you guys picked up on that. I've seen this movie about 4 times now, and it was only when I was watching it this time did I pick up that anger was making all the primary choices in the group. So well done. Good stuff. And I asked this in the home discussion questions as well, but I wanted to ask it of us tonight. What helps Riley during her struggle? So we know that when in the head things were happening and, sadness and joy are going through abstract thought and the islands of personality are changing and are leaving and coming back and all this other stuff. What's happening on the outside of Riley, like the thing that ultimately pulls herself back up, or how she's able to receive help during her struggle. What was that thing that ultimately got her out of that, other than the cute little beans heading back to headquarters? I know that's not where your brain is. I'm just trying to. I'll give a few minutes to think about that. I'd love to see or hear what some of your insights were as a family. And even if you're watching this at home, what were some of the thoughts that your families or your friends thought about this idea of what helps Riley during her struggle? So I'm going to share a couple as they come in. Continue to keep typing and keep sharing out there. Amy, her sad memories help her to come to terms with what happened to her when her family moved. Absolutely. Being given that freedom to actually explore sadness rather than push it in a corner and not let it come out allows her to receive the closure that she needs. Absolutely. And when we allow ourselves to have free access to all of our emotions, we can experience the same kind of peace at the end of that as well. Absolutely. Thank you, Amy. Nancy, talking honestly with her family. Absolutely. It just kind of blew me away, this idea of like community assisted. It was only when she allowed herself to share with others that others could come alongside her and reassure her that everything was going to be okay, to validate the grief she felt, to validate the fact that she, to say like, that totally makes sense, you feel sad. The freedom to be accepted, even though she has kind of these sadder feelings attached to the move. Absolutely. But it's that idea of community, of not being alone within struggle. I know for me personally, whenever I'm going through something kind of emotional, I retreat within myself. I think there's a large population of us who tend to retreat within ourselves. But it helps when you have other people to express and share with. So absolutely. And great secondary point, Nancy, like that she doesn't always have to be happy. I think we put a lot of pressure on ourselves to, how are you? I'm fine. It's always got to be fine. It's always got to be a smile. And the reality is like not every day is okay. And some days feel sad. Some days feel angry. Some days feel scary. And that's okay. Because those feelings are valid. Those feelings have an importance. I liked how at the beginning they kind of explained like the pivotal role each emotion played, right? Disgust, though I don't really relate to disgust. Personally, her job was she makes sure Riley doesn't get poisoned. both socially and physically. Fear makes sure that she doesn't get herself hurt. Anger allows for frustration and obstacles to be overcome. Sadness allows that idea of closure. Joy gives pleasure and happiness and builds in excitement and things in life. And so it's kind of interesting that all these emotions have pivotal points of that. Thanks so much for sharing, everybody. I'm just going to share this kind of final thought with you today. When I was reflecting on kind of what the final thought would be, I kind of reflected on my own journey, which this movie tends to do. This movie tends to let us think about ourselves a lot and say, is joy working in my life? Is sadness in control? Is anger in control? I know for me growing up, I always had an interesting relationship with my emotions where the pressure of you don't have to feel happy all the time. It's okay to have a sad day. It's okay to feel sad in instances when circumstances are appropriate. It's okay to feel angry. And then, some things within our culture like to tell us maybe not all the time or in certain circumstances, or certain people shouldn't feel certain ways. And so this passage in Psalm 139 came to me. And I praise you because, and it's from the psalmist, and he's singing praise to God about many different things in his life. And he says, I praise you because I am fearfully and wonderfully made. Your works are wonderful. I know that full well. And for those who are familiar with their Bible, this is the passage where later it talks about how God knitted us together within our mother's wombs and all this stuff. And I used to only think about that in regards to like my hair color and my eye color and things along those lines. But the older I get and the more I kind of dig in, I also understand like God has fearfully and wonderfully made me with my emotions that serve great purposes. Jesus, who was fully man and fully God, had full realm of his emotions and experienced every single one. He got angry at the money changers at the temple. He wept over his friend dying. He experienced joy. He experienced fear in the garden before he was crucified. I would like to think that he experienced disgust with how people treated one another. And so many more emotions that are more than just those five. And so I think it's important that, especially in this time of social distancing, but even just any day, that, this movie taught us, I think shows us a lot about the power of emotion and how emotion can take control over ourselves and our rationale and things along those lines. But in the end, they were created for a purpose by God, who created us to be wonderfully made and made for good things. And so I just want to encourage you that if you're someone similar to me who struggles with being okay with having some emotions some days, just remember, you are fearfully and wonderfully made, and that includes how you feel. It's what we do with those emotions that I think really matters to God. If we allow ourselves to be in sadness for too long, if we allow our anger to take control and therefore things go totally wrong, do we allow fear to hold us back from what God's asked us to do? Or do we only strive after things that make us happy rather than things that make us joyful? It's what we do with those expressions of emotions that I think really matter. And so that's kind of my final thought for the tonight. I'd love to hear from you guys about kind of your feelings. Feelings? I know for Inside Out, I really appreciate this as not just a person who enjoys movies, but also as a youth worker. I work primarily with junior high kids who, for those who are within middle school and that early adolescent phase, what Riley goes through at 11 is what a lot of you guys are going through right now. The idea of abstract thought and emotions expanding out and our memories being complex. I love at the end where the memories have all the different shades of color attached to them because they all coexist. That takes place now, mentally developing through that stage of middle school. And so I understand how crazy and chaotic and kind of how sometimes how Riley felt our young students, our young teens can feel. And so know that us adults see you and we care for you and we love you and we have been there and we are now here on the other side, and we are not total messes. We mess up, but we're not total messes. And so know that you have a community here at Movie Club, within your churches, within your homes, within even your own group of friends, adults, and even friends who are experiencing the same things that you're experiencing, things that Riley may experience. And so feel free to talk about those things. Follow-up question. I love this. I'm going to share it out loud for those who may be watching on a different day, if you don't mind, Amy. Follow-up question. What is your favorite brain in the movie? Favorite brain. Oh, so at the end, when they show all the different brains, and even when the family's having their chat, and there's the wife who's like, signal the husband, and then the husband has his own brain, but apparently he was remembering hockey and things along those lines. And so there was all the different brains. Oh. So let's just take a second, because I actually have to think about this as well. So feel free, take a second, think of all the different brains that they flash to at the end scene, and yeah, pick a favorite or one that you greatly enjoyed. I'm going to take a second and think about it too. Okay, I'm going to read some of the people. Keep commenting in, guys. I'd love it. And comment down below if you're watching this at a future day. What was your favorite brain in the movie that was portrayed? Nancy, dog and cat brain. It was very... I lived with cats growing up. And yeah, cats just don't care. I feel like that's how they would just react. Amy, the bus driver. That was really funny. The family's brain. Yeah. I appreciated the young adult who worked at the pizza parlor and how they were just like, ugh, we hate everything. Why do we hate everything again? I don't even know. And I'm just like, it's so true to experience that sometimes you just get in a phase of like, this is how I should feel about stuff, that eventually you're like, why do I have this opinion again? I also really liked, kind of connected to in regards to that idea, the fact that when they were on the train of thought and there were boxes of opinions and facts and they got mixed up and they're like, oh no, these all look very similar. It's like, it's okay, just put them back in anyone. The part of me who loves truth and facts did not appreciate them not taking the time to put the facts box in the facts box. But I also appreciated the humor behind that piece. Anyway, there's a lot of different kind of insights. I also like the imaginary boyfriend thing, about how it's like, I would die for Riley. I don't know, any teenage boys out there, either in chat or out there, please let us know, would a young teen boy brain have an imaginary girlfriend machine? Or is that just the girl? Like, is that just a potential girlfriend, a girl thing? I don't even know. I can't even remember if I don't think I had one of those, if my brain worked that way. Or, just let us know what you think. Would something like that exist in a male brain? Maybe not yours, but anyone else's. Any man out there. Because I'm female, so I wouldn't know, because I have a female brain. My favorite quote in the movie is about the train of thought. It kind of goes all over the place. Yeah. Similar to this conversation, it's kind of going all over the place. Uh, it is a really good quote. There's a lot of good one-liners in this movie, which I appreciated. It had a lot of depth to it, but it also was just very light and airy and breezy. Um, I like the idea that San Francisco ruined pizza with the broccoli. Congrats, San Francisco. You just ruined pizza. And I'm like, oh man. And it had to be broccoli. Like, apparently, I like broccoli. Like, I don't understand why no one likes broccoli, but okay. Maybe, maybe that's why I don't like disgust, because she's not working properly in my brain. Who knows? Okay, we're getting a little sidetracked, but that's all right. Good way to end on a bright note. Thank you, Amy, for doing that follow-up question. If ever in the live chat you want to have a follow-up question, either just in live chat or have me share it, feel free to pose the question. I think that was great. Wonderful way to kind of end off the night. Thank you, Amy. It was really fantastic to kind of have that brief bit of pause to our time tonight. All right, so I have, before I announce the next movie, sorry, again, it's on my phone, so I don't forget to say anything for you guys. I just have a quick announcement. So this movie will not be live streamed. I'm just going to pause for this question in the chat. Yes. Commander KV, do you like broccoli on your pizza? No, I do not. I'm pretty plain Jane with my pizza. I like maybe mushrooms and pepperoni and bacon. I'm a Canadian kind of gal. And maybe green peppers if I'm feeling like I need to be more healthy than just meat and fungi. But that's about it. And are we still suggesting movies, by the way, Amy? Yes. If you are a part of Movie Club and you would love to suggest a movie, feel free to suggest a movie. I love that Inside Out was suggested by the community. And I would love to receive insights. I am going to be looking into June's movies and going through that process very soon. And so if you have any suggestions of favorite movies, guilty pleasures, something you've seen that maybe can spark an interesting conversation in Movie Club, please feel free to suggest it. I'm more than happy to review it and see if it's something that we can do. The guidelines are it needs to be G or PG, just because we are dealing with a wide range of ages within families. And so that would be my consideration. Princess Bride is on one of my top lists for June, but I still have to review some of all the movies, kind of go through a veto guideline process. So feel free to suggest, and then I'll do all my research and then see if we can do it. Princess Bride is PG, so we would be okay there. Amy, sorry. I'm also looking at the chat while I'm also having conversations with you guys. Star Wars is an interesting pick. Yeah. Most of them are not within the rating system. They're actually PG-13. But spoiler alert, there is one that is PG that may be on the horizon. So just hold on tight to that, KV. Commander, I apologize. So we are going to be looking into stuff, but feel free, continue to spout out different things in chat, comment in the video. Even if you see any postings on social medias like Facebook or Instagram, send me an email if you have any suggestions. If you do you go down a rabbit hole and make a whole list of movies. I'm always looking for suggestions because I don't want to just show things that I know. There may be great movies out there I just haven't seen yet. I'm in no way, shape, or form a movie buff. And so if you guys have favorites, family favorites, like if your family's got we see this every year and it would be great to talk about, families suggest away what you like and what you'd love to watch, things you've seen recently that you would love to watch again. If there's any specifics, like if you would like to see something but it's part of a franchise and so you want to just see the first one, or if you want to do a whole, I don't even know if we could do a whole trilogy. That's asking a lot of some people. But yeah, feel free, things along those lines. So please feel free to continue. I love that the suggestions are still coming in. Absolutely. Keep them flowing, and I'll be happy to look them over and see where everything's going to come. So in regards to our next movie, you will have a little bit more time to watch this movie. So it kind of came pretty quickly. Next weekend is our Victoria Day long weekend. And with the announcements of provincial parks and areas opening up for walks and hikes and things, not for camping or sunbathing or and doing appropriate social distancing, and as more retailers open up and we kind of start this slow expansion out of our homes, I wanted to give an opportunity for Victoria Day long weekend to be a time to reconnect with family. Maybe watch a movie, watch a TV series, binge on something as a family, or enjoy the good weather. Hopefully it stops snowing by then. I got a text from my mother this morning and she had snow, like full on snow on her front lawn in Orangeville. And I was just like, it's May. It's May. So hopefully we'll have better weather for the long weekend. So I just wanted to not impede on family time, because Movie Club is about reconnecting not just us as a community, but families together as well during this time. And so enjoy a week off. So with this next movie, we'll be live streaming on May 25th. So 2 weeks from now. Okay. If you want any updates in regards to timing or need some reminders, just continue to follow the hashtag Monday Movie Club, and we'd be happy to have you all there. So our next movie, I think I've built up anticipation enough, is The Princess Diaries. The Princess Diaries was released in the early millennium in 2001. And it is a G-rated movie. It is also a bit of a cult classic. They have quite the following. They got a sequel, I forget when, but it was many, many years later. Anne Hathaway and, oh my goodness, Julie Andrews. I'm sorry. I'm also a bit of a theater buff, and I can't believe I didn't get that right. Julie Andrews are so good in it, as well as other characters and other things. A lot different things to talk about in regards to identity in this movie. So I hope you guys enjoy. You got 2 weeks to watch it. I'll be posting the discussion questions in the comments below this video, as well as on our social medias using our hashtag Monday Movie Club. So feel free to stay connected to that. This is streaming, for those who are wondering. It is streaming if you don't already own it, because I do see some of you guys saying you already own it. Disney Plus, Cineplex, their website, you can rent it, iTunes, YouTube, as well as it's a fairly popular film. I would definitely check online library resources if you're able to tap into that. So Hoopla and Canopy, as well as any other things, to see if maybe your local library has it in their online stock. Feel free to take a look at that. And that's it. I'm just trying to think. In regards to warnings and things, there are some bad behavior of cheerleaders and pretty, I wouldn't say inappropriate, but definitely not great bullying that takes place verbally and embarrassment and things within this movie. So just be aware of that. While watching it, could spark a really interesting conversation of how we respond to situations like that as Christians, and as we see it happening, or if it's happening to us, how do we respond? Would be nice. So again, our live stream for that will be on May 25th, and if you're looking for any sort of suggestions of movies other than that, feel free to send things my way. I may have other suggestions. But again, I don't want to spoil anything for future watches for you either. So continue to, I see some really great suggestions in chat right now of other movies. If you have any other things, comment below, message me, or even write something and include the hashtag Monday Movie Club, and I'd be happy to take a look at those things and see if it's something we could do. I love that this week's movie was kind of supported by the community. So thank you so much, guys. Mark it on your calendars, May 25th. We look forward to see you there, and I hope you all have a wonderful week and enjoy the movies.